Alright, well I have to do this video. I was walking, I was driving to the Habitat Humanity store to get some stuff, some rebuilding. It's a rebuilding store, you know, they sell used stuff. And it's just up over the bridge, right over the freeway. Less than a mile. Within a quarter-mile stretch, you know, from there in the freeway, I got passed by 3 cops. One of them went flying over this, drove up onto the curb and around this meridian. Another cop just flew around everybody and blasted through the intersection. All 3 of them were going to this group of 10 other cop cars, which had, I don't know if the car was pulled over or what, there was a car in the middle of the street. None of the cops appeared to have their guns drawn or anything going on. They were just casually doing whatever they were doing. The cop who had flown past in front of me, he just parked right in the middle of the road, then just got out and just casually walked over there. You know, no intense, no pressing issue. And then after I passed them, another lady cop went flying past and almost hit a few of us, and just so she could zoom and flip a U-ey and like fly in front of traffic. And anyway, I yelled at her some profanities, and I thought, you know, these are people that work for me. I'm not afraid of these cops. These are people that need to be put in their place as far as driving safely. But then I thought about it, and I said, you know, as a cop, if I was an officer, I would probably be flying to these, you know, calls too. Reason being is because being a cop can be very boring in a city where there's not a lot of action. But what we have to remember is that what we're going for in society is a society with not a lot of action. We don't want police to be busy busting people. We want police to be observing and being fair, and people to be honest, and most of the time, people are being straight up. I mean, how many times have you heard a story about a cop who pulled somebody over and they couldn't bust him for something, let's say they, well, I could get you for littering, you know, and I've even seen cops on these shows that are like, well, we'll get him for something. As if they're not seeking justice, they're just looking to bust somebody for something. But anyway, that's a different subject. These cops up here basically are doing, you know, nothing. But since there's all this action, they have to fly up and, you know, drive through traffic. Anyway, I got back home, I got online and started doing some research because I wanted to know how many people are injured by cops. Now, check this out. In the last 10 years, recorded over 10,000 people have been injured in California, by police in high-pursuit chases. Half of those are for DUIs. Let's see, I think it was 90% are for nonviolent offenses. I have these all facts written down in there somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. 90% are for nonviolent offenses. 10,000 people have been injured. 300 people have been killed in the last 10 years in California during high pursuit chases, when 90% of those are nonviolent offenses. Okay? That's ridiculous. Now, on top of that, there have been 300 people nationwide each year that are killed by cops pursuing people. So, out of those people who may be endangering, let's say 10% of them are worthy of being chased, you still have 270 people dying each year for nonviolent offenses that are of people that are being chased by cops. But the cop does not want to give in. The cop doesn't want to say, I'll radio it ahead and say, well, let some other cop take care of it, or let the next jurisdiction. They want to be the hero often, and they get into the, you know, they got the adrenaline flowing, and that's a human condition. I understand that. I'm not just sitting here harping on cops saying, cops need to just chill out, because I understand that cops need their emotion. But they also need their reason. They can't let their emotion override their reason. And people get hurt, statistically, a lot of people by cops that are driving fast. And I'm sure every one of you have seen cops blowing around people on a lane that isn't there. How many people have seen a cop flip his lights on just to blow through a red light and then turn them off when he gets through there? You know, it's ludicrous. It's just ludicrous. And this happens all over the place. Police are, you know, overstepping their bounds as assistants, are assisting our citizens, right? On a side note, while I'm talking about it, it's interesting because all of the police forces have become militarized. Something like 80% of all these SWAT busts, it's gone up like like 2,000% or something, SWAT busts in the last 20 years. Now now that they have all these tanks, the military is giving them all this gear, you know, all this military grade stuff, you know, tanks and Hummers for these little tiny towns that have hardly any people. One town has like 400 people and they have a freaking SWAT tank. You know, it's ludicrous. It's funny because Obama actually signed something, I think today or yesterday, to said that the military has to stop funding, or has to stop giving these to the police. I'm going to look more into it, but it's funny how everybody's saying that, you know, Obama's the, you know, trying to assist the New World Order and help out with martial law. You know, the truth is, dude, he knows that's bullshit. And, you know, it's not just him, of course. A lot of people, many of the administration officials realize that it's out of control and that police have ceased to be walking the beat. People with a face. People that you can talk to and associate with. People are scared of cops. If you're a policeman and you're watching this, people are scared of you. Even though they're not doing anything wrong. And when people always look nervous, well, that's probably because they're scared of being fucked with, or beaten, or harassed. And most people just keep their mouths shut. But, you know, anybody's afraid if a police officer wants to speak out against what's going on in his own, you know, in his own jurisdiction with his own officers, his fellow officers, he's going to be, you know, outcast. So he has to go along with it, just like in politics, and I understand that. It's the story, you know. It's just like those cops where there was a story a while back where one cop said they were all taking money off of this drug bust or something. He said, I don't want any of it, but I won't say anything. I don't want anything to do with it though, and they killed him. You know, I mean, this is a rare event, but it's an example of why people are scared to speak out against this kind of stuff. But, you know, it goes way beyond cops driving fast. I'm just trying to make a point. The police have been overstepping their bounds, and there's a lot of people sticking up for the cops saying, hey, you don't understand how hard it is to be a cop. Well, you know what? I think that statistically being a cop is like the 10th most dangerous job in this country on the list. Well, after coal workers. And so, you know, come on. You know, really. You can't use that. You've taken a dangerous profession. Shit might happen. But not a lot of cops are really hurt in the line of duty compared to how many they have, you know, how paranoid cops tend to get about getting hurt. You know, drawing a gun and shooting someone in the chest 3 times because they hold a knife and they're 20 feet away and they're delusional or crazy or drunk is unacceptable, completely unacceptable. And police are not trained to wound, they're trained to kill. And, you know, it's sad. It's just sad that we're scared of cops. So, and it's sad that they take advantage. And it's sad that we live in a society where that's just the way it is and the way it will be. And it's not going to change. But, and hold out hope. Take care, everybody.